One of the most dangerous mistakes I see people make with their websites is to fixate on what the competition is doing. Look, don't get me wrong. Competitive analysis is a valuable part of any digital strategy, but there is a fine line between being aware of your competition's strengths and weaknesses and letting them dictate your own direction. Because there is a real and sincere danger here. Very quickly, you can go from a healthy interest in your competition to essentially copying them every step of the way. And if you fall into that trap, the inevitable result is that you're always going to be one step behind them. Not that anyone actually necessarily sets out to copy their competition, but it's insidious and it happens without you even noticing. It starts out with a competitive review and then quickly moves into the territory of, well, none of our competitors do that, or everybody does this thing and so we should too. And before you know it, you've created a clone of your competitors. But this isn't just a worry about being one step behind your competition. There are two other considerations here as well that we need to take into account. First, you quickly find yourself in a sector where all the companies within that sector end up looking the same, as they all copy one another. And so your site does nothing to stand out from the crowd, making it largely redundant. Secondly, and in my opinion, more importantly, there's a false premise behind the desire to copy the competition. And that is a belief that your competitors somehow know how to do things properly and that you need to learn from them. There is an assumption that they've done their research and that they've made good decisions and they haven't just copied the competition, which in my experience just is simply not true. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Our competitors are much bigger than us. They've got more resources and they've got more time. So surely they make good decisions based on real data that we can learn from. However, that's rarely the case. I've worked with many large enterprise organizations, and to be frank, they're just as disorganized, inefficient, and overstretched as the smaller competitors. And then, of course, there's the fact that you are not your competitors. Although you may be very similar, every organization is unique and needs to approach the market in different ways. If your competitors really are bigger than you, then you're not going to have the same success by adopting their approach anyway. However, in many ways, all of this is a distraction from the real reason that most people want to copy their competition. And that's the fact that you don't get into trouble from doing what your competitors have done. They give you a point of reference where you can say, look, they did this, and so it obviously works. Of course, the chances are that's not actually true, and the very feature that you're about to copy could well be underperforming for your competitors. Nevertheless, you have a justification for your actions. But copying the competition is not the only justification you can use. Far better to carry out your own research into user needs and behaviors and base your decisions on that. Even if the research is just desk research carried out online using the help of an AI tool like Perplexity. And if you really need to see a particular approach working in the real world before you adopt it, then I'd encourage you to look outside of your sector where there are ample opportunities for you to find ideas that are truly innovative that will make you stand out within your sector. So the next time you find yourself tempted to reject an idea because your competitors haven't adopted the approach, or to implement a feature that you've seen on their websites, I would encourage you to think twice, because the best that you're going to get from that approach is mediocrity.